With Organization Portal, you can create an online presence for your business and manage it on the go, be it political, non-governmental, civic organization, business owner, social institutions, and so on. There's room for everyone. You can do more with Organization Portal, from adding team members to creating campaigns, posts, debates, and much more. Get started by downloading Veegil app or visit veegil.com. Veegil, increasing your socio-political influence.
Hi, my name is Farouk. Do you need to report any form of incidents or injustice that's happening within your locality? I know you'd also like to update your friends, your family, and also the public as a whole. You can do this with the incident report feature on Veegil app. You have the ability to choose the type of incidents, to describe the kind of incidents, and as well to add photos and many more. To use the feature, download Veegil app now on Google Play Store and on App Store. Thank you.
Over the years, employability has moved from what you studied to what you can do. Knowledge that cannot be applied is useless in today's world. That is why at Summit University Offer, Sun Offer, owned by Ansarudin Society of Nigeria, our goal is not to produce only employable graduates, but to graduate entrepreneurs and job creators who shine in their world like the products of Sun Offer that they are. Enroll today by visiting www.summituniversity.edu.ng. Inter-university transfer is also available for undergraduates willing to complete their studies at Summit University Offer. Sun Offer. We shine like the sun.
Hi, my name is Farouk. Do you need to report any form of incidents or injustice that's happening within your locality? I know you'd also like to update your friends, your family, and also the public as a whole. You can do this with the incident report feature on Veegil app. You have the ability to choose the type of incident, to describe the kind of incidents, and as well to add photos and many more. To use the feature, download Veegil app now on Google Play Store and on App Store. Thank you.
All right. I know you might be kind of confused and you are thinking how real and how truthful is our results on Veegil platform. Okay, calm down. Let me explain to you. Yeah. The fact index works in a way we collect results from a lot of people in a certain polling unit, and then we give you an average sum of that particular result. The fact index will be measured by the location access we have to the people that are posting the particular update. If you have your location turned on, we would have a higher fact index of that particular post because we confirm that you are currently in that polling unit you are giving update for. So we collect this result from these people posting updates in that particular polling unit, and it will give you a collated result on the Veegil platform. What?
Abdul is not available. Eh? Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, everyone.
Hello, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Good evening.
Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, I can hear you. Now,
No,
good
don't worry.
evening, Mr. Wiki. Good evening. How are you today?
Good evening. Very, very fine. Yeah,
Yeah, thank
I
you very
guess
much for
it's
joining
clear
us
now.
on this program.
Yes.
Sorry?
No, I said, I guess my voice is clear now.
Yes, very well clear. Yeah, thank you again. Welcome to Veegil Media program. This is actually a election monitoring streaming from
Yeah,
Veegil
that's
Media
good.
studio in Lagos, Nigeria. So we are actually taking an in-depth analysis into the current election happenings in Nigeria. We are making INEC our specific references in the
Yeah.
respect to their pre. Hello, you want to say something?
No, I'm hearing you. Sorry.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in respect to INEC promises that they made when they transmitted the presidential election, despite the glitches and the shortcomings and the discrepancies in the INEC results, you understand? So they gave us their words and that by this governorship election, which is today, there will be changes. But unfortunately, so far from our record and from our field resource gathering, we discovered that it's still the same thing that happened in the presidential election that is likely happening today as well. Like for instance, some states, although the turn up was averagely low compared to the turn up that we had during the presidential election, then there were massive turn up. Everybody was, in fact, when you get to most polling units, you will see a lot of queues, and everybody just showed up, to what cast their vote. But today's governorship election, the turnout is very, very low. And this goes to say that people are not really motivated to cast their vote, actually. Then also, we also look into the incident report of some polling unit stations like Lagos and some other states in Nigeria. But specifically, we were able to find out that election violence was predominant in Lagos, and this really mitigated the chances of people from casting their vote and exercising their civil rights. So we want to examine some of these issues and see what has happened and why INEC has still failed to meet our expectation as of today's governorship election. So come again, I understand your
Yeah.
position. Okay, so
Yeah.
now we want to examine this lingering issue. Why INEC has failed again to meet our expectation regarding today's election. Please, I would like to start by hearing your view first concerning today's election. I know you are not in Nigeria, you are a diaspora and so, but I understand. You definitely must have heard some news and also some many platforms. So, what is your opinion about today's election, and what have you noticed so far concerning today's governorship election?
Yeah. Thank you very for the invitation.
Thank
Uh,
you.
it's good. We're having this media to discuss this issue. Like you said, in fact, I'm monitoring the election on 3 different devices since I came back home. Even while I was away, I was monitoring it, and I'm using 3 different platforms. And you see, these are my own opinion. Number one, when we say INEC has failed to meet up to our expectation, yeah, I think I like that. But if we say INEC has failed to meet up to its expectation, then I will disagree. Yeah, because from the body language of INEC, it seems their expectation, I am 100% don't think their expectation is a national expectation. So I feel once they have delivered some certain type of results, then they have made their expectation. Unfortunately, that is not the mandate of INEC. The INEC is supposed to be, I am not saying categorically But that's why I say it seems. Because if that's not the case, then after all the challenges that we experienced during the presidential, we expect, remember, there are laws that voters intimidation, suppression, ballot snatching. I saw a video where some thugs, I think that was in Edo State, snatched the ballot paper and ran off. Now, the question is, how many polling units, according to what I believe was in the INEC Act, were even cancelled due to voter suppression, intimidation, ballot snatching, and all these things in the presidential election? Do you know of anyone officially? I know there are a lot of information out there. Okay, there are a lot of data out there, but how many officially did we hear, did we list? Because when you check all the polling units, the results are there, isn't it? So did you see anyone, they said cancelled? I think maybe I saw one or two cancelled. But explicitly, you know, when you are talking about technology at this level, you expect to be able to provide data that communicates, data that aligns with even the acts of your organization, of your institution. Okay? Definitely. And so because those things were not done, we still have a reputation. I knew to this election. Now, I was just speaking to a friend from Cardinal States, you know, where I also have a lot of interest. And the first thing he told me is that too much of manipulation. That was the first thing he told me. That was the first thing he told me. And I mean, it's expected. He said too much of manipulations. Now, we are not in any way saying that any political party is angelic or free from manipulation, but INEC had the sole responsibility of ensuring, all right, of ensuring that elections are credible, free, and fair. Now, while INEC is not responsible for behavioral management of the country, INEC cannot stop people from snatching ballot boxes. INEC cannot stop people that wants to put their head in front of a barrel of a gun. I mean, you know, you are going to meet some form of nemesis, but you still decide to go and snatch ballot box. So INEC cannot stop all these kind of things. But what did we expect INEC to do? We expect INEC, all right, to execute its laws, to execute its deterrence. We expect INEC to, okay, for example, I strongly believe that part of the funds that was released for INEC has a lot to do with logistics, and they assured that this is what they need, all right? And I don't think the 176,000 polling units will lack security.
Yes.
All right. So all those things was captured in the budget. 300 billion, sir. It's not a small money.
It's not a small money.
It's not that money. No, you think of it jokingly. You can literally give every Nigerian 1 billion and it will be left. Come on, my brother. This is not a joke. This is real statistics.
Yes.
So I have been probably on the platform. We've been noticing some results. Of course, like you said, there was low turnout. No, I saw some pictures from Opera Square, I think Enugu or somewhere. And normally we know that the enthusiasm that visits gubernatorial election is lesser than presidential. However, there were a lot of, voters apathy, especially maybe people believe that during the presidential election, things didn't go. Anytime I tell my friends that things didn't go as people expected, they automatically start talking about because my candidate didn't win. Of course, there's a limit at which you can reason with people, you understand? Someone like me, by God's special grace, I have studied the democracy of a lot of countries, and I've seen that in every country, all right, there are those who position themselves to create the balance. For example, if you look at America, on paper, there are more registered Democrats than Republicans on paper.
You are right.
But why is it the Democrats don't always win an election. Because the fact that you register as a Democrat doesn't mean you always go to vote for the Democrats.
Sure.
So, for me, I am a swing voter. Look, even when it comes to Lagos election, you know, I have never said it should be. Sorry, something's wrong with the network.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah. You know, even when it comes to Lagos election, some of my friends from the APC were asking me, who do I support? And I said, you don't want to hear my honest opinion. And I said, let me tell you my honest opinion. I said, if Sanwo-Olu, Gbadebo don't belong to any political party, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
If they don't belong to any political party, I will probably support the Sanwo-Olu. Why? Simply because I feel he might have more experience in handling Lagos. Gbadebo has excellent ideas. I said that might be one of the reasons why I might like her. Maybe based on experience, because this is me that, that supported the Peter Obi, and I'm supporting Peter Obi's spirit, soul, and body. I owe no apology to anybody. But why is it that I say they don't belong to a party? Now listen, you cannot be building a political coalition. Please sir, tell me, if Sanwo-Olu belongs to Labour Party and Gbadebo belongs to APC, do you think any member of APC will advise anybody to vote for somebody from a different political party?
No.
Thank you. So if I say that, okay, because I strongly think Nigeria needs a thought force, it is very healthy for our democracy. It's not sentiment. All right? It is very healthy for our democracy. So look at what I'm using. Not for me, not for Peter Obi, who does not know that, of course, Peter Obi cannot always be the leader of the obedient.
Yes.
Okay, during SARS, was there a Peter Obi there?
No.
The obedient are a cluster of people who will always keep on pushing a political agenda of change.
Change, yeah.
Currently, and even Peter Obi himself said it, that not every obedient are member of the political party. But something is happening now. A lot of obedience are now understanding that soon, you understand, they need to crystallize the obedient structure into a strong, sustainable party structure. And I know many obedients will not go to APC. They will not go to PDP.
Yeah.
So common sense means that, okay, if 60% of the obedient, because just like the case of Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, a lot of Democrats who wanted Bernie Sanders eventually didn't vote because Bernie Sanders didn't get the primary. So if some of those obedients say that, well, if it's not Peter Obi, they are gone, fine. But there are some 60% of them who might eventually go into the Labour Party. You understand? To say, okay, let us build this strong party. So don't you think it will be unreasonable for you to campaign for the candidate of another party simply because you claim he's more competent than your party? So when you are looking at it from a party perspective, I will go for a Gbadebo.
Okay.
Because if I don't, then I am destroying a party that I want to build.
Yes.
But if you are looking at it on individual, there is nothing wrong with the Sanwo-Olu. Of course, he might have his own thing, but when you check some things like community health and one or two things he has achieved. And beside that, I will not pretend to you that I know much about Gbadebo. But once it comes to parties, APC will never advise you to vote for another candidate in another party because of competence. Why? Because they understand the game of power. And I don't blame them. They are building their own coalition. They are building their own party. There's nothing wrong with that. All right? Yes. So, finally, based on some of the results that have been coming in, like you said, I think it was I was seeing some I posted on the chat group. Quite a number that I've been seeing in some polling units in Lagos. As at now, quite a number I'm seeing. I'm not saying what's out there. The one I'm seeing, how the Labour Party in the lead. But then some other people say that those are Labour Party strongholds. And just like what the American says, it is too early to call. So generally, that is just my view about election, but I don't think INEC will complain about this election because it seems to follow the template of what they consider as a good election. Because presidential results, that is what have they said. So when I say INEC, probably I'm talking about some of the stuff. Remember, I said something that I don't have any evidence that the chairman of INEC decided to rig election. I said that I don't have any evidence. Maybe people had their own compromise left, right, and center. So when I say INEC, I'm not talking about the institution. I'm talking about those principal players who are supposed to do things properly, and they have actually not done it well.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wiki. Thank you very much. I would like to chip in some point actually. Bordering to what you've said earlier on, you understand, INEC in their own capacity will say they have delivered their own mandate actually. But in truth and in reality, we all know that they didn't meet the required expectation. But now I want to narrow our area of discussion to Lagos actually, because Lagos is the center of excellence, and it's let's say it is a strategy. In fact, it holds a strategic position when it comes to politics in Nigeria. And between the two viable contestants, which is Road Vival and Sanwo-Olu, Sanwo-Olu for APC and Road Vival for Labour Party. Please, what can you possibly say may likely be the outcome of this Lagos governorship election? Because I believe, like you said earlier on, people really vote for they want something that is different, and that will possibly give Labour Party a hedge over APC. But now we've seen incident reports now happening in Lagos whereby people are being disenfranchised by election violence or intimidation in every front. And even at some places, reports keeps coming in that they are being prevented. Even journalists and also hard work officials threatened. You understand? So it's making it really unsafe for people to really cast their vote. And I know this will possibly impact today's election result. So, Mr. Wikiman, I don't know actually, but from all indication, I feel probably APC may definitely get a hedge. That is Sanwo-Olu, you understand, because they are trying to prevent Labour Party now from what having a stake in Lagos, in the Lagos Stronghold House. And I feel that this is why there's this election violence in Lagos. And I feel that it is probably supported by the APC leadership. So I don't know. Can you tell us what you feel about this? What will be the end of today's governorship election? Will it turn up in favor of APC or Labour Party eventually?
Yeah. So thank you very much for that question. Like I said, for now it is early to call. However, I noticed that there seem to be a similar pattern from what we are seeing from the presidential election. Yeah, there is a stage at which you say results are coming in, all right? Then there's a stage at which, hello, I hope you can hear me. Can't see anyone on the screen.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And then there comes a stage, there comes a time when you keep seeing a lot of results with a similar pattern. Because I know during the presidential election, we kept on seeing a lot of polling results coming. Labour was ahead, and there is this APC was going to catch up, and then APC never caught up. So for me, now mind you, I am saying for me, I am not saying official, I am not even saying verified. A lot of results I've been seeing is showing Labour Party leading. However, like I said, it is too early to call. It is very difficult to defeat an incumbent. It is very difficult. It's not going to be so easy to defeat Sanwo-Olu. Sanwo-Olu has a lot of ground game. Sanwo-Olu has a structure. And I think generally, Sanwo-Olu also has a lot of soft spots from quite a lot of people. Maybe because of the way he played his politics, maybe he played gentleman politics. So I strongly still think he has an edge. It's just that I wish we have come across more polling units to actually see, to substantiate that he has a significant edge. You know, you can have an edge, you can have a significant edge, you can have a narrow edge. I may not have any edge. So based on, like I said, the power of incumbency, because usually a second term is usually it's like a referendum. Elections like this, usually a referendum on the first term. So the question is that I personally have not seen so much of complaint. But what I've seen is people who want a change. So you know there are two different things. Yeah.
Okay.
Someone can say, look, you are doing well, but we want to change you. Aha. So if those who are clamoring for change are not up to those who say, look, this man is performing,
yes.
Then, like I said, he might have a slight edge. But however, this is just okay, you know, over here is 7 o'clock. No wonder you are chatting me that it's time. I mean, I was looking at my time that it's 7:30 here now. Why is this my guy calling me? I'm just noticing now that we are one.
I understand.
I always miss that thing. We are 1 hour behind. You see, I would have been expecting that it's 8 p.m. So anyway, over here is 7. Then Nigeria there is 8. Is about to 9. All right. So I've been refreshing my screen just to see, but I noticed that I've not come across any new results apart from those ones that you saw me posted on the chat.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this is the this is the one posted by Mr. Macaroni, where the Labour Party has about 339 and DC had 63. So you notice that some of these results are still the same one we've been seeing.
Yeah.
I have not gone to the IREV yet. I've not checked the IREV. Probably, maybe that's what I'm going to start checking maybe the next 1 hour. So like I said, it is not about we want change. Even opposition members who believe that Sanwo-Olu is performing. You know, of course, now you had the blue rate and some of those transportation reform and things like that might also have given him votes, which was there's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong. Like I said, Sanwo-Olu played gentleman politics to the best of my knowledge. Yeah, but if the overwhelming desire of people that want change, like the president, then it might be another fog of war. But so far to this point, the result that we have seen clearly shows Labour Party in the lead. But then somebody very conversant with Lagos said those are Labour Party strongholds. And that also makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
But thank you very much, Mr. Wikiman. Please, there's another to bring on board. That's Mr. Abdurazak Adams, and is a pioneer for Veegil Media. And he has so much to say. I believe he has so much to say. So, Mr. Adams, please, can you introduce yourself and tell us your observation regarding to today's governorship election with Nigeria precisely as a whole, sir?
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Abdurazak Adams, the founder at Veegil. And so thus far, I think going straight into the conversation here, I think it's very early at this point. There's still a lot of results coming in. And I believe a lot of the polling locations are just getting their results collated at the local government level. So it's going to be a while for us to be able to start to see tangible results and trends here that would would start to point us to what candidates is in the lead and what candidates is probably trailing at this point in time. So I think right now in Nigeria is about 8 p.m. Voting is closed in most places, we believe. If there are any exceptions, maybe in some places where maybe they have issues or incidents, and as a result they are not able to hold elections, and by INEC stipulation, they would have to have elections run in those locations within 24 hours. So we can expect that if there are any places where there are challenges, either due to threats of violence or perhaps coming from logistics issues, as I've heard Mr. Wickham and yourself discuss, INEC continues to be plagued with these kind of issues, unfortunately. So before we get conclusive results, it's going to be a while. I think we can continue to see it trickle in. As you can see, scrolling down on the screen, we have some results coming in, and at Veegil, we do have a live update of the results, and I want to encourage everyone watching us to go on there and post results of their polling units and of their local governments once they have them, so that we can start to get a lot of this. But I think it's going to take us perhaps till the early hours of tomorrow before a lot of the local government collected results start to come in, and thereafter, the resident commissioner and the scope of INEC for that state would then have to gather all the results, collate them at the state collection centers, and all of those results would have then to be passed on to, or basically that's when we would get a sense of the final results. But I think we can just continue to gather them as they come in. But I believe it's going to take us till tomorrow before we start to see like majority of the results coming.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. And it's a great pleasure having you join us today. Please, there's another issue I would like us to discuss, which is electronic transmission from INEC. Much hope has been placed on this BVAS machine. And from my previous experience, I feel this electronic transmission is very, very feasible. In fact, let me say, at least from today, it's easy to transmit this result. So I don't know the possibility that there might be a slight change to this, because what the encounter we have in the presidential election, I don't want to believe is going to happen again in this governorship election. So I don't know. Please, do you have any specific bill in reference to this, or perhaps you think that INEC, as promised, will make this electronic transmission feasible between today and tomorrow?
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. So I think there's been a lot of talk around the promise of BVAS and what we could hope to get from the electronic transmission. I think the key thing here is transparency. That's the key word here. Yeah. And the goal is we hope that we can have these results transferred from even the polling units to the INEC servers, and what BVAS, the promise of BVAS is that all of this will be done, and as soon as the results is announced in the polling units, INEC can collect all of these results and have them all together, right, in their situation room, and all of these can be provided to the public online. So this is the hope and the promise of BVAS. But I think I would like to look at it from a logistic and a technology standpoint. So what does INEC need to have in place before they can actually implement BVAS? I think we've all been talking about BVAS, making BVAS work. I for one think that in Nigeria we don't have like good connectivity in terms of internet, in all the nooks and crannies. Some of our polling units are in, water creeks, they're in very difficult terrains, difficult to reach, places that are difficult to reach. And you are, if you're an INEC and you're trying to deploy this thing and you're relying on, let's say, 2G GSM network or 3G GSM network. Not everywhere in Nigeria has the 4G right? Then you're bound to have these servers malfunction, and you're going to have, issues with, transmission of these results. So the idea of the beavers is you have to be able to transmit it electronically. So what happens when the INEC officials are on site and they have these results, everything is done manually, it's on paper, but they're trying to transmit it and there's no network, right? I think that's where the challenges will come in. So I believe what INEC ought to do to make this successful is to have the infrastructure laid down and available for people to be able to actually transmit these results, right? And you will feel that will be doable in today's world with smartphones and everything. But the key thing here is the network that is going to transmit it. And that's where I think we're having a lot of the issues. And so the moment the results cannot be transmitted from the polling units up to the server, then we have to go back. The fallback mode is going to be going back to the manual transmission, where they have to take all their result sheets and make their way to the local government or whatever collation center they are going to and present those results. I, for one, thought that like some months before the election, when the Minister of Information visited SpaceX's headquarters in the United States and got the Starlink broadband internet down to Nigeria, I, for one, thought that was being done in preparation for the elections. I think that could be a very useful technology, a very important way for us to be able to, bypass all of these issues we have with GSM networks, because we know that they are not too reliable. So regardless of where you are, whether you're in a creek or what have you, I thought that was going to be one of the use cases and one of the reasons why the government actually went to get a Starlink broadband internet to Nigeria. Nigeria actually happens to be the first country in Africa to have that service. I would think that INEC will be looking to use technologies such as those to make sure that we have flawless connections, regardless of how interior or how difficult that terrain is. And we can all together, transmit all of these data to the Beaver servers. Now, someone could say, okay, that's going to cost a lot of money. But again, you look at the current expenditure that INEC is using on logistics, somewhere on the order of 300, 400 billion naira. And you say, okay, this is almost $1 billion. Okay, what is that money being spent on? If you're going to get for the 170-something thousand polling units we have, if you're going to get a device that can actually do some form of interconnection, or at least have maybe some substations that are close by and that multiple polling locations can use, how much would that cost you? So I think this is something that INEC needs to think about in terms of the logistics and look at how they could improve the infrastructure that would give us the benefits of Beavers. So I think, I would leave it at that.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Wikiman, are you still with us here? Hello, Mr. Wiki, are you still with us?
I think my network was...
Yeah, Mr. Wikiman, are you still with us?
Yes.
Mr. Wikiman, actually, I would like to hear your input on this as regard the electronic transmission, because, for instance, in the presidential election, like I said earlier, I had access with the Beavers machine, and I understand that from the trainings that the INEC officials passed down to the HADOC officials, now they sensitize them on how to transmit even by connecting the Beavers machine to their phone, like a Wi-Fi portal at the instant, and that it will be easy to transmit. But regardless of that, I still want to, I would like to hear your take on this. Do you think that between today and tomorrow, this electronic transmission will be feasible? Because definitely the election is over now, and people are probably retiring back to their collation centers to work on the result. And even as I speak now, I'm sure now that the respective SPOs in various polling stations and in the rack centers, at least would have given the feed on the pictures and on the result on the election result to the collation body, center bodies, and this alone is enough to be transmitted. So I want to believe that by today and tomorrow on failing, INEC should be able to transmit this result electronically and to prove us that yes, they are right and up to the task as a body.
Yeah, so just like what my brother said, I don't think there is any magic in transmitting results electronically. If you look, there was a time that we had an engagement.
Mr. Wiki, I think there could probably be a break in transmission. Okay, I would like to go further to bring up another issue for discussion. And this issue is related to, let me say, the core politics of Lagos. Hello, Mr. Wiki. Mr. Wiki, can you hear us? Oh, I think there might probably be a break in his transmission.
Yeah, I think he has issues with his network. Yeah, so you were talking about
yes,
a different issue.
Yes, I want to bring up an issue which is let me call it ethnic profiling in politics in Lagos. Because over the weeks now, let me say a particular ethnic, let me say second of the ethnics have been targeted. Let me put it plain, the Igbo people in Lagos. And I think this is probably because they tune more in favor of Labour Party as opposed the APC candidates. And this has resulted in so many incidents like fire outbreak, destroying their property, housings, and so many other things. And there was a report I got today. Hello, Mr. Wiki, you've joined us? Okay, I'll go ahead. There was a report I heard today in Lagos that in a particular polling station, only the Yoruba people were allowed to vote. The Igbos were not allowed. That is, the thugs there now, they were kind of disenfranchising them from casting their vote because they are what majorly Igbos, and I believe they had a premonition that they probably vote for the Labour Party, and they are trying to prevent them from going ahead to vote for Labour Party. So please, I would appreciate your view on this. Do you think this is ethnic profiling? Will it really work? And what are the implications for democracy and what's it called, the election process as a whole? Because it has led to several incidents, and it doesn't speak well for us at this stage as a democratic state, because definitely it's giving us bad signals and giving us bad impressions in the global community. So, please, I will appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I think it's really unfortunate that our democracy seems to be taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The fact that people are bold enough, they can move in such a way without any form of recourse or redress for such actions, and decide to alter the progress of the elections. I think that's quite unfortunate for our politics in Nigeria. Now, what I believe we need to try to establish in Nigeria is the means and the method that we know are ideal for the conduct of elections. It's unheard of, although I must admit that things like this happen everywhere. We've seen it in other democracies, even advanced ones, like in the US, where people go to polling stations armed with guns, especially in states where you can carry weapons openly. So this is not something new, and they do this to intimidate. However, they do not physically get to prevent people from being able to cast their ballots. Any attempt to do that, I'm sure, will be met with equal force. So I think INEC needs to work with their partners in the security establishments. INEC works in conjunction with the police and the military. They've talked about the way in which they conduct this election. They tend to have policemen stationed in all of these polling units, and they stay at a distance and they watch the conduct to see that everything is peaceful. And so my question would be, in these places where things like this are occurring, what are those security personnel? What are they doing at that moment where they see that people are being forced out of the polling area or are being intimidated and prevented to vote? So they told us there are concentric circles that outside that circle, probably a kilometer away or some meters away, you then have from the locations, they form a ring. You then have the policemen that are actually carrying weapons, right, and can be called upon at any point in time if there is any of such issues. So my question would be, what are those INEC officials in that location? What are they doing? Are they calling on the security personnel to handle the situation and maybe arrest those people that are doing this? And if the security personnel feel like, okay, I'm overwhelmed here, then they should call for backup from those concentric rings. So they maintain a ring of unarmed security personnel around the polling locations. There's another outer concentric ring of armed policemen, and then outside those, you now have the soldiers, basically. And all of these people are just reinforcements, they're backups, and I believe this is their job. This is what they've been called upon to do. So my own thought here would be that we ought to go to them. We ought to have a critique of the performance of INEC at the end of the day. With every election, my expectation is that we should always get better at what we're doing, right? We should never have a situation where, we are basically regressing in terms of how we are conducting our elections. So I think it's rather unfortunate that people can do that, and they can allow these kind of things to happen and fester without any form of recourse or redress. And so additionally, let me mention here that it's also important that we address the politicians here that usually have something to benefit when things like this happen. As you said, maybe the Igbo people are being prevented to vote so that it can favor the APC candidates, or allegedly. The thing we have to note here is INEC also has to have a way of saying to these politicians that, hey, this is a behavior we are not going to condone, and we have to ensure that there's a way of redress, and that these kind of issues are actually addressed. I think generally what INEC has tended to do is just to cancel those polling polling units. I think that's also unfair to those people. But I think we need to have a mechanism in which people that have not been able to make it to the polls for a legitimate reason can seek redress with INEC or with those election officers there and be able to cast their ballots. So it's unfortunate that our politicians keep engaging in this kind of identity, tribal and ethnic politics. It's very dangerous. It inflames the polity. I think if the APC feels that they have done a good job, then they should be confident in the people examining the work that has been done. I think APC and in all its reincarnations from AC to AD back in the days, and ACN and what have you, they've actually been in power in Lagos for almost 30 years.
Yes.
Yeah, so I believe at this point in time, they should be confident in what they've done, because at the end of the day, the politicians are there to serve the people. So I see this election as, especially in Lagos State, as a form of referendum, as Mr. Wickman mentioned, on the governance of the APC in Lagos. So I think this may be a situation where they are scared about the opposition and what have you. But I think it's very dangerous, especially when you look at the antecedent, how APC got into the Aso Rock, the presidential seat in 2015, right? They played opposition for a very long time too. So they shouldn't quickly forget that opposition is actually very good for democracy. And I would like to see, politicians playing fair and discussing the issues and trying to convince the people that their candidate or their party is the best party for the job in the States, as opposed to trying to force their way through. Because at the end of the day, when you force your way through and you eventually get into power, then you would continue in that same manner to treat the people that way. So I think it's unfortunate that this is occurring in 2023, but as the former host or panelist said here, Mr. Wickman, that it's actually very good for our democracy if we have alternatives, because then everyone that gets the job understands that they need to perform for the people to be able to give them that mandate going forward. But this kind of precedent that is being set is very dangerous, because they have to realize that with this kind of incidents occurring, younger politicians, people coming into the system, can look at that as a blueprint to say, once you achieve power, or the way for you to get to win elections is by intimidation. And this could be very dangerous. The person perpetrating it today could be the recipient tomorrow. So we don't want this kind of behavior in our politics.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Wikiman, are you still with us here? Mr. Wiki, are you connected with us? Okay, sir.
I don't think he is.
All right, sir. Finally, I would like to bring up the last issue for discussion on this platform in reference to the complexities of Nigerian political system. I want to see if there's a possibility that electronic transmission will work better. Although we've seen initially when beavers came, we all have hopes and aspirations that beavers will be the last resort. So all these issues and discrepancies in politics and in election. But now again, we still hear the same stories. And like I said earlier, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, just as we've had in the previous elections. So I want to say, is there a possibility that if electronic voting, that is, people vote from their home, to save us from the hassle of maybe intimidation in the poll station, or the stress of it. So is there a possibility that, okay, if we go by electronic voting system, will this issue be resolved, or it will still reoccur?
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think that's a very interesting topic here. The issue of voting electronically and voting from home. I would let us know that I think there's only one nation in the world that's thus far implemented that, and I think that's Estonia. And number one, it's a small nation, relatively homogeneous nation. They don't have a lot of the tribalism we see in our politics, a lot of the identity issues that we see. And, it's relatively advanced nation in terms of, the infrastructure that they have per capita. So all of these things that, just as I mentioned earlier about the transmission with beavers, all of those infrastructure that they have, you see that the penetration of the internet, for instance, there is actually very high. And if you look at Nigeria and most countries in Africa, we don't have that much penetration of the internet. Given a lot of people use mobile phones, a lot of people have that. But as I mentioned, the base infrastructure that powers all of these, the data centers, the mobile telecommunications, the connectivities, the fiber internet, broadband internet, all of those things are not readily available. Granted, the minister said on Twitter that, Nigeria has achieved 100% broadband, with the introduction of, Starlink. Technically,
yes.
that's true, but it's also very expensive. So how many people actually have access to it? So we could have it theoretically, but how much of that is actually available for folks? So before we go, the route of having, this electronic voting, there are a lot of things that we have to think about. So the first one is
I think there's a break in transmission. Hello, sir. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I think there's a break in transmission. Hello. Paul. 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 Oh.
hello. Are you able to hear me now?
Sorry for the little break in transmission.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Probably I accidentally switched off my microphone. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So as I was saying, I think when we look at the internet proliferation of internet in Nigeria, I think we still have some ways to go. We're probably at this point in the 60% range thereabout. We've not been able to hit that threshold. I would say before we can do electronic voting and have it as the sole means of voting, that we probably want to go to that 90-95% range. And there are other
Oh, I think there's another break again. Oh.
Hi, my name is Farouk. Do you need to report any form of incidents or injustice that's happening within your locality? I know you'd also like to update your friends, your family, and also the public as a whole. You can do this with the incident report feature on Veegil app. You have the ability to choose the type of incidents, to describe the kind of incidents, and as well to add photos and many more. To use the feature, download Veegil app now on Google Play Store and on App Store. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back again.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, there are other things we have to consider, right, before we are able to deploy this massively or on a wide scale, on a massive scale. I think we also have to look at the idea of identifying folks. The Beavers uses facial recognition. It also uses fingerprints, so it has that kind of backup. So if you want to implement something like this, where people will do electronic voting from the comfort of their homes, then you would have to assume that many of them would have the devices to be able to capture their fingerprints. That's also going to be another obstacle to go through. And with the facial recognition, I think many people would have a camera on their phone. That's probably going to be doable. But lastly, I would say we also have to think about the security implications in transmission of results and actually voting online. I think I'm not suggesting here. I have no evidence to say that this occurred in the last election, but it's not far-fetched to think about a potential of a hack or a coordinated attack on the BVAS system by whatever parties stands to benefit from it. So again, I'm not saying there's been reported evidence of this, but these are things that could occur. So what happens when everyone starts to use this technology and someone has the ability to basically stand in the middle of that system and maybe change the votes that people have actually imputed? Those are things we have to think about before we go down that path. It's actually very good to think about it and start to prepare for things like that. But I think generally in Nigeria, thus far, we are already one of the most, adoptive nations when it comes to technology in elections. Majority of the world actually still uses the manual systems, and perhaps the only parts that they are maybe incorporating technologies is just in the counting of the ballots. But when it comes to the voting and all those things, accreditation, all those things, Nigeria actually is one of those countries where we've actually been embracing a lot of technologies. And I think we've basically given INEC a lot of room to be able to, change their procedures, to be able to introduce different kinds of technologies. BVAS is an example. And in previous elections, if you look at it, there's been that incremental push towards using innovative technologies to make our elections better. But however, to save us the stress of having to come to complain about, all of these challenges with it, I think there are a lot of things we have to think about ahead of time before we implement this. The electronic voting, I would say it's something that if we want to bring on board, it would be beneficial if we could start small and perhaps use it for just a couple of by-elections, maybe local government type elections or things like that, and try it in a small locality and see how it works, and take the learnings from that and continue to implement. Perhaps we could incorporate it to existing methods of voting where people can go to the polling stations and vote, and at the same time, if some people chose to vote from the comfort of their home, then they would be able to vote. I'll be interested in hearing what our other panelists think of it. I think it's going to be important as the next step to getting folks like us from diaspora to be able to participate in elections in Nigeria, because unfortunately we don't get to be able to vote in our countries where we stay, and unfortunately, we can also vote in Nigeria, where we are citizens. So,
all right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Your input has been very, very valuable. Actually, from my home point of view, and from the experience I had with BVAS, in fact, I would say that as at now, BVAS machine has not been fully utilized to serve its purpose. And in the sense that, because when I had a close ring to examine the features, and in fact, I would say it is one of a kind, and it would have been the last resort for the changes we need to impute in all our electoral system and processes. But it's just quite unfortunate that the existing structures on ground has not really made it, easy for us and let me say for the electoral officials to fully utilize its potential. And is quite it doesn't really feel good. Let me just say that. But however, I believe we are going forward, and with this introduction, I believe maybe in the subsequent elections to come, it will be fully utilized, and then maybe if probably we're fortunate to have a new leader for the for INEC, probably there may be the changes we seek, and that this give us may be fully utilized to transmit election on a free and fair platform. So thank you very much again for your time, and I really appreciate your valuable input on this program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you have a final conclusion was for us this program because of our timing, so that we can.
Okay, I think we have Mr. Tunde here. I don't know if he wants to speak before I make my closing remarks.
Oh, Mr. Tunde, welcome. Mr. Tunde, are you with us? Hello, Mr. Tunde. Hello, Mr. Tunde. Hello, Mr. Tunde.
Okay, perhaps he's not with us. So, in closing, I think what I would say is that I think we have to look at the glass as half full. I think we've been making gradual improvements in the conduct of election. If I recall correctly, the first election we had in '99, it took us about a week before we got the results. I think INEC has, with successive elections, been able to cut that down to about 3 or 4 days. So I think we can continue to do more, but we have to look at that as progress. I think in terms of the logistics, how the training of the personnel, how we are able to get from voting and get the results, you know, I would like to see more improvement there. Perhaps, you know, we can start to get results in 48 hours, right? In just 2 days. I think that'll be beneficial to help, you know, increase confidence of the voters. One of the things I've seen thus far is that there's been a lot of voter apathy, right? A lot of people have been worn out with the way the election has been postponed, and a lot of people also wonder about that. The INEC should avoid postponing elections, because many people just get, you know, fed up with it, especially when you know, the government of the day is taking a lot of people through all of these hardships with, you know, the issue with the naira, availability of naira, and, you know, the restricted movement and what have you. In other democracies, you know, people vote on a regular Tuesday and they go to work.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we can incorporate things like that, where we could start to vote for a period of time. So we could vote maybe for 3 months at a stretch, right? And we don't count the results until you know, that day of the election. You know, majority of people will still vote on that day, but, you know, if you want to get more participation, then we should make it easy on people's schedules. We should ease, you know, the complete shutdown of the economy because of elections. And I think all of these, with logistics and proper planning and securing of the elections, we can actually achieve those. But I do also understand the challenges that comes before INEC. As we can hopefully by tomorrow, we'll start to get more results coming, and we can start to see the trends in the states. But for now, you know, it's probably going to take us till Monday before we know what parties has won in what state. But I will be interested in seeing if we're going to have a similar trend to what we saw in the presidential elections play out in the states. I opine that if we do have such a trend, then we have an established third opposition in Nigeria, which I think is good for our democracy. So whatever the outcome of the results, I just want to encourage everyone to be patient. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll get more results, and we'll be able to have a very good conclusion and peaceful conclusion to the elections.
All right, thank you very much, sir. We can only hope that things get better, considering the dynamics you have on ground. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you also for the valuable input. And I also want to thank all our guests, those that came here on and before, and those that joined maybe by reason of the connection or technicality issues, they could not make it. I want to thank you all. Please, let's not forget our core values, Veegil Media. We have apps that what captures election monitoring and integrated map features that we can always make reference to, and all the election details, voting, everything is there. So if we want to make reference to it, it's accessible. So thank you very much again. Thank you for the program. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
Hi, my name is Farouk. Do you need to report any form of incidents or injustice that's happening within your locality? I know you'd also like to update your friends, your family, and also the public as a whole. You can do this with the incident report feature on Veegil app. You have the ability to choose the type of incidents, to describe the kind of incidents, and as well to add photos and many more. To use the feature, download Veegil app now on Google Play Store and on App Store. Thank you.